Hello everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Alright, let's make sure the audio's going good. Let me grab some water. Good evening. Good to see you all here. Okay, so the plan today, I'm running a little behind schedule. I wanted to start this earlier. I have somewhere to be not too long from now. So I'm going to really blaze through the TA. Usually I spend a little bit of time going in depth on the analysis I'm doing and why, but won't do so much of that today. Just worth noting, I am long on Bitcoin. We had this move back down into the golden pocket here from this low. It's our major golden pocket. Low to high, wick through it a little bit. And then we reclaimed at the New York Open this morning the point of control, getting a nice impulse off that, and possibly claiming these range highs with bullish CBD absorption. Oh, this is from a tweet. But anyways, what I like to do with these live streams is I like to take requests and start the analysis from scratch. Worth noting that Lit, I was watching it, is up at the golden pocket, and there's a point of control here. I was interested in shorting this, but I was out today, and so I was going to short this, but I didn't, and I may not end up shorting it here. Okay, so let me scroll up a little bit, and I'll try to blast through some of these. First one is ADA. So first thing I'll do is put ADA perp here, come in here, and I'm just going to blast through the analysis, like I said. So there'll be a little bit of an educational element because I am doing it from scratch. Actually, I'm going to use the, I'm just going to look here. I'm going to use this. It's an interesting level already. Just marking out key horizontal levels on a high time frame here. This is very clear. You know what? A good habit is to label keywords, sorry. And then you can just duplicate that. If you drag it while holding control, it duplicates the line. Yeah, so you know, I like to just work down on different time frames. You know, these levels can be possible swing failures as well, why they should be marked out. It's actually not a bad idea, honestly, to drag the start of the handle to the level you're pulling, just so you're well aware of where the origin of that line is if you zoom out. Because sometimes you have alerts going off, and that's important. The specific order of how you might do this doesn't really matter. This is quite a clear looking channel idea here, so I'm just going to pull this quickly. And what I'm doing is I'm just building some analysis here. Just want to be aware of any, all this trend line stuff is broken. I'm not going to do many super high time frame fibs. Let's keep it relatively local. I do want to know where my 382 is though from the all-time high. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking for confluence on different ideas. So let's pull locally here. Right now we can see from this pivot, the 382 and that point of control are aligned as resistance. And I can clear up some of these levels later. This is interesting as well. All right, so there's a lot of fib confluence from these two pivots, and we'll zoom in and look at those. Yeah, so much fib confluence here. Okay, so pulled from these different pivots, You can see the 382 is aligned with the point of control. So this is going to be important resistance here. The support here is very clear. You know, we've just swing failured this low. There's this high time frame key horizontal that we've been playing with. So if we rally, what are the levels of resistance? Well, here the point of control of this range is aligned with the 382. That's going to be quite relevant. There's probably some local channels here we can look at, but I just want to go over this first. So this level, 382, point of control. This level is the golden pocket from this pivot and the 382 from the other pivot. So that's called fib confluence. So from two major pivots, two important fib levels. So that's going to be resistance as well, if we can claim that point of control. And we also have a little wick here that we could swing failure into a liquidity grab. Obviously, depending on the timing, it's not likely that it takes until mid-November to push up to here, but there's this descending channel idea. And then above that, we have some more fib confluence. We have the golden pocket from this high and the 382 from here. So, you know, what you'll find, you'll find this happens relatively regularly because, you know, price is moving fractally in relative distances to the previous pivot. So the fact that the 382 is the 618 is the 382, 618 from each pivot isn't actually that uncommon because of how price moves. So another level of interest, and what I would do personally is I would just set alerts here if I was interested in these levels or want to take a price at them, or sorry, take a look at them when price reaches them. This level is quite interesting too because, you know, up here you could swing failure this high around 52 cents and it right into the golden pocket. There's a key horizontal here, which is what we're swing failuring, the golden pocket and a 382. You know, I'd probably be more interested in a potential short here, likely to get a reaction, get a TP1. And what I would do is I'd wait for this level to be taken. You know, longing, if you're looking for longs, it's pretty clear. You know, longing here, you could either do it with your stop loss under this low. This is swing failure. Your targets would be up into these levels. You know, TP1, maybe TP2, TP3. That'd be a decent swing setup idea. But yeah, I'd be more interested in looking for a short here. That's a pretty clear liquidity grab idea. And then up above here, we have the major golden pocket from this high to this low. And that, again, is going to be an important level to watch for a potential short locally here. Because that's just such an important fib. And you could get that swing failure, rejection, likely to get a TP1. And the way I would trade it is wait for the high to be taken and wait for price to come back below. That's what my short trigger would be, and my stop would be just above this new high. So that'd be level of interest. Then up here, if we come into this major 382, swing failuring. So just level to level. You know, if you take a short and price breaks out, then you just cut your short and wait for the next level. That's how I trade it personally. Yeah, so that's ADA. Support's very clear. If we break down, we'll obviously gotta start looking lower, but there's not a lot of structure lower. It makes quite a bit of sense why we're bouncing here. You know, but yeah, you'd really want to see these levels reclaimed or just see some of these horizontal levels tested, which, I mean, obviously this is going to be, you know, a pretty big drawdown, down to like 19 cents. But yeah, that's how I'd approach ADA, and it's pretty easy even without the fibs. You can just see all the fibs are aligning with these pivot highs. All right. Let's go to, sorry, I gotta scroll back here. CHZ. Sure. I have some TA here, but I am going to scrap it. I'm just looking for multiple touches. Some of these aren't super clean levels here. You know, if they're not super clean, I don't know if I necessarily want to have them on my chart, but there is kind of a pretty clear idea of support and resistance in between here. So we'll see if we get any confluence. Nice move off to 786 here. I'm going to delete the other fibs. There's 382 from this pivot up here. Let's make sure we're aware of where the point of control is. They're above it here on Binance. I actually don't want to pull this here. Quite a well-defined point of control. This looks suspiciously like a trend line that was tapped. Yep. So I could kind of eyeball that and see that it looked quite close to a perfect trend line touch, and it was pretty darn close, I would say. The best way to do this is to snap it to price. And what you can do, my preference is if I want an alert on a descending trend line, is I duplicate the line and I bring it down, and I can turn that into an alert. So right click it, add alert to array, create an alert. So this way it gives you a little bit of a warning. If we come back up into this trend line, you get the alert before the trend line's actually tapped. I want to look at some support ideas here. We're very close to a 382 retracement. It looks almost tapped it. So a 382 is a bullish retracement. If you bounce from there, you know, it's usually quite bullish. If we can't hold it, well, I'd be probably looking towards the golden pocket, which probably comes in at this key horizontal. Also, the value area low is close here. Let's pull a more local volume profile. Okay, so there's a point of control here aligned with the 382. That's worth noting. So this would be important support if we can hold it. The invalidation for a long isn't very clear. I mean, it's quite a ways away. So you could just use the new low. If there's a low and then say we reclaim the 382, you could use that as your invalidation maybe. Nothing super clear in terms of ascending channels. Just for fun. I mean, you know, this could be a long ways away, but even if a level's a long ways away, it's not a bad idea to have an alert there. You might forget about it, but then you get the alert and you can come take a look at price. Obviously, you want to set alerts around key highs as well, because you could always swing failure them and form a range here. That could be a nice short opportunity with close invalidation, looking to re-enter the range. But for now, price is trending upwards, a series, you know, higher highs, higher lows, and we very well may just hold this uptrend. We're kind of bouncing almost like this would be decent confluence. Let me get rid of some of these brushes here. So when I talk about, you know, confluence is where you have multiple ideas all coming together to form one level of support. And so here you have this ascending trend line idea, the 382, the point of control, and this could be confluence, right? Tapping this for a potential long setup. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. You know, sometimes you can also find nice descending channels in the local price action. This isn't so clean. Let's pull these a couple ways. Let's try it here. And you're just looking for key pivots. This would have been a nice, really nice, if we'd come down and tap this level, we would have had this descending channel, the ascending channel, and the 382 all aligned there. There's a little swing failure here. Yeah. What I do is, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm looking to do my analysis and mark out key levels that I want to trade. So I'm not going to take a trade unless I get the level. Um, and I'm not just looking at a chart and trying to guess, is it going to go up or down, and then opening a trade. I want to trade key levels. So, you know, this could be a nice idea. If we come up into this level, swing failure, this high into this trend line, that could be a potential interesting short. For longs, well, coming down into here would be really interesting. Obviously, this is interesting, holding the 382. Locally, your resistance is, you know, you just want to look at market structure. Resistance is pretty clear from a horizontal perspective. You have these lows. There was a bit of support coming in here, and now it's resistance. So, you know, claiming that would give some more bullish outcomes potentially. But for now, we're you know, we could reject from this resistance. So I would not be opening a long into here. You know, this would, if you did have some ideas to long down here, this would certainly be an area to look at taking profits, because unless, you know, if you can't flip that into support, it's likely to get some kind of retracement here. If you are tuning in and you have no idea what I'm doing, usually I do go through the tools a little bit more, but we teach all this stuff over at the Lucky Apes trading floor. There's a website in the description. So let's go to Rune. I should actually just scroll down in the comments and make sure no one's saying like, I can't hear you. You know, I'd like to in the future do some more like Elliott Wave stuff in these live streams, and so I'd probably have to do fewer coins. Like maybe on a Twitter poll, I would just do like, hey, what do you want to see analyzed? And work on some Elliott Wave ideas maybe. Because that would be fun to tile that together. All right, let's go to the daily chart on Rune. Rune's obviously down at key. I mean, lots of things are at key support. Have this where we impulsed off this level here. Ties in decently. Obviously, this low is important just because it's the major low we put in. We didn't swing failure it. All right, so the important things to be aware of here is our point of control. We should know where the point of control is here. You know, on high time frame analysis, like this would be really important to know again where the, I'm actually kind of surprised the point of control is down here. Okay, that's interesting. So this is really a POC. Because the volume is so like defined here, or so accentuated, it's particularly important. You can see it's a bit of a region. So POC, we'll just call this a high volume area. High volume area. I do want to pull. I'm going to pull from this low. I'm just curious. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of volume there, so it's interesting. I'm surprised. I mean, you can see all the volume down here coming in compared to here, so maybe it shouldn't be so surprising, but that's really relevant. This is a really important level to claim and some important resistance. All right, so, well, we have about 10 POCs here. Just for fun, I'm going to box this area out because it's a bit of a region. Just make it pink to separate it from here, because we have a few point of controls there. Just lots of volume in this area. So let's look at some fibs. Again, the support here is very clear locally. I mean, this is support, and if we break down, well, there's not a lot of price history here, but you would probably just be looking at these different impulse lows as potential support zones. This one could be interesting. Of course, the major low here. But there's nothing really else to do there, except we could get into some descending trend lines. Just want to see how far. It's just 30% away. The range is 100% here. And of course, you can come back and clean up your charts. It's just important to know, you know, what are your fibs? And if you were working on Elliott waves or harmonics, then you'd want to start seeing where did this reject from, right? Like, is this, so this was initially a golden pocket rejection. With the swing failure back into the range lows. But anyways, just eyeballing some ideas here. Want to be aware of any descending trend line ideas. There's a few ways you could pull this. You could also pull it with the lows as the anchor. I'm going to go to a lower time frame chart here. I'll do these in a second on a lower time frame, but while I'm up on a higher time frame, just be aware of this. You don't have to pull this as a channel, but I like to have the center line. You can see we are getting interaction with it. I'll even delete these for now. It's just good to have, because so basically you're anchoring from these highs, and then you're pulling your trend angle from these highs, and you're anchoring it to this low. It gives you a middle trend line. You can see there's really nice interaction with it. So good to have on the chart. But let's go to some lower time frame ideas here. Again, just looking for lots of nice confluence where certain ideas align with each other. You can see that this channel was getting some really nice interaction. Like it would have given you this pivot low, and these are decent impulses, 7-8%. So nice interaction here. We did whip through it a couple times, but you know, my opinion would be I'd like to pull it from the new low now. This is quite a clean trend line as well. We're at the center line if we want to look at that as a channel. I like having these channels. I like looking at them. I might not keep them all on my chart, but I like to just be aware of how price is interacting with these trend lines. Sometimes it's helpful to change the color too if you have multiple channels, just so when you're in your chart you're not getting confused. I don't like always having a different color background. Sometimes I actually just turn off the background and I'll just have the trend. But you have to really know what you've pulled, or it can get kind of confusing. I'm just going to pull some local fibs here as well. And usually what you'll see, like if I'm sharing a chart, I've done all this, and then I've really just removed everything that's not relevant to the levels I'm talking about. But here we can see the 382, I mean these are local levels on the 1 hour chart. This is about a 16% range. The 382 golden pocket are aligned at this wick high. So you know, we could come up and swing failure this high. But one thing I talk a lot about is alts really like the 786. So we do have a nice 786 here as well. And I'm going to turn off the center line for now on this high time frame channel, just because, or I could change the color. So I could just say, you know, I know the pink one is the high time frame channel. This white one is the lower time frame. You can change, just so you're aware when you're zoomed in, you know, you could say pink is the highest time frame, white is medium, yellow is low time frame. That's something you can do if you want to keep your channel lines organized mentally. Or you can just turn them off and folder like high time frame, medium time frame, low time frame. So locally, you know, yeah, if you were scalping Rune, this would be an interesting level. This would probably be the most interesting level. If you could come up and take these highs for a potential short, it would align very well with the, you know what, just to make this more clear, for Rune, let's just focus on the low time frame levels here. So what would I look at? Well, I'll turn on the background here. It'd be very nice if we could come up and impulse into this channel high and this golden pocket pulled from this pivot high. sweep these highs, swing failure them right into the channel, and this could offer a short setup. You know, maybe we come back and test these range highs. So if we break out, this would be a level I'd be interested in shorting. That'd be more of a scalp. And maybe we come back down and retest these levels, which would give us, at the time, if we did that, we'd have a 382 back aligned with these range highs, and then we'd have a golden pocket retracement here in line with this key horizontal we have marked out. So both of these would be interesting retracements for longs. I'm not going to set the alerts for those now. So that's how I'd think of an idea here. Obviously, a swing failure long here would have been beautiful. You know, if price came down, when you've reclaimed this low, you enter long, and this is your stop loss, you would have got a nice position off that. All right, Sol next. And obviously this point of control, this is really important as well, right? This is probably our most major resistance and most important level to reclaim as support. And you probably would expect to impulse up and retrace probably most of this move if you could reclaim that. You know, but if you just swing failure these highs again and lose the point of control, you know, then you might expect a retracement, maybe form a range here. So I'd say this is the most important level to claim. Right around $1.90. It's a region, $1.90. $94, $98. So Sol next. And one thing is, you know, you can mark out these basic, you know, I'd say relatively basic ideas pretty quickly. And if you really want to go the extra mile, but it takes a lot of knowledge about these things, you could go into Elliott wave ideas and harmonics and things like that. And that's why it's hard to trade, you know, 20 things at once, is you really want to have some in-depth analysis typically. But why don't I know my ABCs all of a sudden? I always kind of zone out when I'm scrolling through this list. All right. I am long on Sol. But same thing. Let's mark up key horizontals. This is just a key horizontal because it's our key low. This is going to be key resistance. Basically where we're bouncing off right now on Sol is the 786. Quite an important level. Which is why I'm long. I've been longing Sol here for a while. I'm kind of aware of some of the analysis that exists, but we'll redo it anyways. But anyways, we got a nice impulse here, came back, retested this level, swept these lows. There's an ascending channel idea here. Have a range point of control that we are above. So let's see, comes in same place. Why have I suddenly lost this handle? All right. For resistance on Sol, obviously if we lose this level, you know, we could come back down and swing failure it. This would stop out my longs. If we reclaim the level, then I'd just long again with the stop under there. If we lose it, then looking back into the range lows. But I've been longing this level and the swing failure of this for a while. I mean, this range has been going on for a month. So I started longing this about a month ago. For resistance, well, obviously we have a very clear pivot that could be a liquidity grab. I will look at the 0.5 fib. That's where we rejected from. 0.5 isn't actually technically a fib number because those are Fibonacci sequence numbers, and 0.5 is not in the Fibonacci sequence, but it is in the Elliott wave kind of canon for levels. Sorry, pulled that wrong. But so anyways, I don't typically look at it, but more so on alts I'll look at it occasionally. Less interested in it on Bitcoin. We can pull some local channel ideas here as well on the 1 hour. I prefer pulling from wicks just to be aware of this. I only like this being yellow. It doesn't matter. I'll just leave it for now. Just be aware of some local. We slightly front ran the 618. So I mean, major resistance and short ideas would just be obviously, you know, maybe a scalp short if we can swing failure these highs. Entry trigger, stop loss here. And now just because you've swing failure them doesn't mean price can't just go back up through it. It's a technical setup where you would move up into a key level, reject, grab that liquidity above the highs. This is trapping breakout longers, stopping out shorts with their stops up here, and then grabbing all that liquidity, and then maybe we keep ranging. But of course, we've been ranging for so long. I am expecting that it wouldn't be unlikely to get a breakout eventually, but you know, we're in ranges within ranges within ranges. So of course, the next level after that would be, this would be a more interesting level. But there's not so much confluence, you know, for a pivot high. If you got a nice reaction here, and maybe even just local consolidation showed it a local swing failure, that could be nice. But you'd want to probably be looking to take profits back into maybe a potential bounce off of this level. So take profit one. If we retrace further, you could carry this short down lower. But I have a pretty bullish thesis on Sol. And I'm looking for $60 from here. So that's my swing idea here. And there are some, I've been playing with some Elliott wave ideas. I wouldn't mind coming up into this major level here. Into this 1618 extension. So anyways, however that plays out, that's my swing target for Sol. I'd be quite interested in shorting a swing failure of this high into the 1618 $60. That's a high time frame idea though. So, you know, we have to hold this. It could obviously get invalidated, but that's my swing target for Sol. All right, someone's asking for ETH. And I do have analysis on a lot of this stuff, but I do like to just for these live streams just start from scratch, just to give a foundation for how I like to do analysis. This key horizontal is obviously quite clear. I think this was an 886 from this pivot high. And this is obviously a key horizontal as well. For support, we've obviously come into this golden pocket. So I can do some quick analysis here for why I'm long. Let's just do a couple things here. I'll explain these levels here in a second. So if you follow me for a little while on Twitter, I posted this back, you know, what, 2 weeks ago. I longed here, and I'll tell you the reason. And this is just, you know, this is cool because we can see this confluence lining up here. So the lower time frame chart for this channel really quick. So the reason I longed is because we came down into this old range point of control. So I pulled the point of control over this range. It was a 786 from this pivot, and it was this descending channel. And so I longed this impulse, which that's just confluence, right? I had this channel idea for much higher. I had it up here. It hadn't formed yet. I like to do something where I'm kind of predicting a channel. So I've already pulled my angle. I have an anchor, and I'm looking for this move down to the bottom of the channel as a potential long, and it was confluent with some horizontal levels. But yeah, we do have, let's mark out some resistance here. And for me, I've taken profits off this long. I'm just happy to let some of it run. I mean, there are some bullish ideas that could play out for ETH. ETH has very clean interactions with trend lines often. You can see this here. So it's always nice to be aware. This isn't too bad. Let's just turn this white for a second because it's getting to be a little much. Let's even make the background white. I'd be very interested in looking at this 786 on ETH because ETH loves, alts love retracing to the 786, and we have a little pivot high that we could take here. And right above that, we do have a golden pocket that's important. So, I mean, which probably aligns with the 886 here. Yeah. So, I mean, this would be an interesting level too. If you see some weakness here, shorting this with an invalidation above this high could be quite interesting. Depends how price gets there, though. I'm not saying it will go straight up. So maybe if it takes its time a little bit, you could even form some kind of ascending channel idea that could give some additional confluence, something like that. But we'll see. Just worth having those levels marked out. Locally, I mean, locally the 786 is interesting here too. Swing failure of these highs. Yeah, I mean that would be an interesting short too. Swing failure this high. And then that's your entry trigger, short there, and maybe expecting a little bit more ranging, a retracement. Look for, you'd have to do this analysis in the future, but looking for that retracement into a key fib at the time. And obviously when you're you delete all the, I just have the fibs on there to see the confluence. You would delete all your irrelevant fibs and just try to keep the relevant stuff on there. So worth noting, we are rejecting right now, or consolidating at the range point of control here. And so this is important resistance. So if we claim this would be quite relevant. If we reject, well, come back down, test some of this support is likely. But I'm not necessarily interested in trading this. I have my longs. I'd be more interested in shorts higher, or just if price comes back down, maybe I get a chance to add to my longs. But not really wanting to trade the middle of the range here. But certainly, if say you longed here, this would be a take profit idea for sure. Just scrolling through chat. All right, let's go to AVAX. And you might be asking for some, I'm seeing some repeat asks, and you might just be tuning in. I have covered some alts already, so if I get to yours, I might just mention that I've already covered it earlier in the stream. All right, let's go to AVAX. Just marking out key horizontals. For anyone new tuning in, I would just mention that I usually would talk a little bit more about what I'm doing. I'm just trying to go through things quickly because I don't have a ton of time. In fact, let me just look at my phone real quick here. Okay, all's well. this would have been such a nice long here, right off this old range point of control. But yeah, let's look at things locally. Shouldn't be surprising. Swing failure this high into the golden pocket region. Just for fun, I just want to see, this looks like quite a clear ascending channel idea. Just want to try anchoring it from here. Oh yeah, it was perfect. So yeah, this is really nice. So you have this, you know, your trend angle coming from these lows, 1, 2, anchored from the highs here, and this would have given you the exact top. And that's how I like to use channels. And no, I don't think anyone else uses them that way that I've seen. So although it's becoming a little more, I've seen it more on Twitter now since I made a video on it. But I'm just gonna do two things. Yeah, so for resistance, I would be pulling this as my trend angle. This, but usually you don't want to trade channels on their own. Just want to see something. Those are pretty much a golden pocket resistance, but we've made a, or a rejection, but we've made a new low. So the 786 here. The 786 here is important because again, there's a pivot high right above it. So that's at like $22.15. And again, that would be a nice swing failure setup, and alts love the 786. So even sort of some other ideas here with just horizontal levels. You can see resistance here, support here, support, kind of support. We watched through it quite a few times, and then, you know, expecting it to be resistance here again. And depending on how price gets there, you could form an ascending channel idea where you have some confluence as well. So you just would want to keep an eye on it and pull that as the best price approaches that level. I'm just trying to look here. These are local levels. Key fibs up here. There's probably some higher time frame channel ideas that could be interesting. Even this looks like it played out quite, yeah. So, you know, this is, again, you can see there's nice interaction with this trend angle. This trend angle is the exact low. It's forming ascending channel here. Also high volume area right here. It's almost the point of control, but not quite. It's a bit of a region. Also came down and swing failure this low. So for a long, like this would have been quite a nice setup. If you spotted this channel idea, and then you have a swing failure of this low, high volume area, clear support, local resistance. Always looking for these pivots, right, to be taken, and looking for key fibs, you know, volume profile levels, channels, key horizontals to align as resistance at these key ideas. And ultimately, it's trying to set alerts for support and resistance. The reason I'm in a bunch of longs right now is because, well, I have support ideas. So I have a lot of longs. They're in profit, and I'm happy to carry some of them as swing positions. But marking out my resistance and just preparing, not trying to take random trades at random areas of the chart, trying to guess where price is going to go. All right, RSR. I don't know if I have RSR. Let's see. Oh, clearly I do. Well, I missed that alert. But anyways, I did some analysis on this the other day. I just remembered. So yeah, when price was under this key horizontal, I just said that we are under this key horizontal. I said, well, there's an ascending channel idea here, and if we break out, we have the golden pocket here, a key horizontal. That's on a higher time frame, and this would be nice resistance right here. Obviously, that played out. We got a nice rejection from there, but I don't have a short from there. Oh, yeah, it was over the weekend here. I typically try not to trade on the weekend, but yeah, that's what I'd be looking at for resistance right now on RSR. I think an interesting short idea there. Could actually pull this. So we could look at some support. I was looking for liquidity ideas. I mean, I wouldn't be that interested in the 382. I'm fine to let trades go. I mean, it could be interesting, I suppose, if we hold this ascending channel. It doesn't quite align properly. But this would be interesting, coming down into the golden pocket, sweeping these lows. And that could be, like, my ideal scenario for a long would be to sweep this low. And then reclaim it. And then you have a nice long with really tight invalidation. And see if we can carry on up. So I'd set an alert there. And then obviously you want to be aware of your deeper retracement ideas. And just wait. You know, I did set an alert there, but I didn't take a trade. And just to be clear, this is pulled from this wick high to the new low. That gives a golden pocket there. This key horizontal. You know, I wouldn't even bother pulling the fib from here, really, because these levels have been washed out. I'd say this is the most relevant one. You'd want to be aware of your volume profile. Yeah, this would be really nice. It's your point of control as well, so lots of nice confluence here. This is where I'd be interested in a long around 69 cents. If we could come in and sweep these lows, hit this point of control perfectly, would be beautiful. Reclaim these lows, and then that'd be my long trigger with a stop under here. So obviously a long ways away. I'm not saying we'll get it, but you know, if you had been able to short this level, and obviously you could take some profits, it'd be a nice idea to short it down into this and then flip back long. Sorry if I miss anything. Yeah. This is obviously from an old live stream. I was just talking about claiming these levels. So I'm aware. I had this was a target for me on XRP. I had a long, but I took profits off it and then got stopped at entry. I didn't reopen, but I wish I had reopened it on the 786 here. We had a really nice, obviously beautiful impulse off the 786. Would have been such a clean setup. But that is in the past. This is obviously a very clear horizontal level, right? And the 382s here as well. This was from down here. This was a target for a long for me, but price ended up coming lower and stopping me out at entry, and I didn't re-enter. I'm just zooming out here because, you know, with this impulse, I wouldn't be surprised to see price. But it's not about guessing. You know, you're looking for really nice levels and you just trade them if you get them. I mean, this all would be quite interesting. I am curious what fibs we have from this impulse low. Really nice rejection from the golden pocket here. The golden pocket resistance. So you can see price made a high, made a low, and impulsed up into the golden pocket, and that's where we're rejecting from. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a very clean 786 bounce as well locally. So just looking at how price is progressing here, right? We put in the high, we had that key horizontal level that was quite clear. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some fibs from just some local pivots here. Yeah, it's the 786 exactly from this pivot. And the reason this pivot's important is, well, it's the retracement and then the impulse, right? So it's the impulse low. So this is where price impulse from. And so that's why you pull it from here. But so we came down to the 786, bounced into the golden pocket, and then from this new low to high, 786 again. And that's what we're impulsing off of. And what you'll find is if you pull fibs from all these pivots, you'll find that price is oftentimes moving between key fib levels, even just from local retracements. And even here, you know, if we impulse up, well, price could reject from this golden pocket into this descending trend line idea. And that would be like a scalp setup, right? If you maybe get a nice short idea there. And it would be nice to come all the way down into this 786. Also near the point of control. Sweep this low into this channel. These are all ideas I'd be interested in. Obviously, if we break out of this channel, we break out. But, you know, I don't know how interested I would be in this short. I'd be very interested in this long, but I would maybe consider scalping something like that. I'd probably prefer to short these highs being taken, honestly. I'd rather short this level. It would mess up this channel idea, but something like this would be more interesting to me, taking these highs than shorting here. I'm not as apt to short when key pivot highs aren't being taken, or long when key pivot highs aren't being taken, because I want to see that liquidity grabbed. And again, I'm sorry if I miss anything here. I'm kind of just scrolling through the chat here. I'm seeing some repeats, but trying not to, like, you know, someone's asking for Sol again. I did do Sol earlier. Let's go to the daily chart here. Oops, I keep trying to click off this pencil. I am long on DOT. So just a key horizontal. It is important to label these, just so when you zoom in, you're not confused. It is acting as resistance, clearly. Locally, support is quite clear. This channel idea was relatively clean here and here for this touch. This was also a golden pocket rejection here on a high time frame. You know, I did get a lot of alt shorts at the highs as well, down into the lows. This level held up decently for a little while, which was a 786. Got nice bounces off of it, but ultimately lost it back into the lows of the range. You know, longs from down here make a lot of sense. That's why I am long from down here. On a higher time frame, I mean, this is going to be your major resistance. If you can claim it, great. But, you know, you have this little wick that we could swing failure. But, you know, this is one thing I really always encourage people. Like, zoom out on your chart, mark out your levels. Why would I be interested in longing a retracement down into Sol here? Well, it's such great invalidation, right? You have this clear support, long, stop under here. If we break up, great. If we don't, you just stop up your position. But I feel like a lot of people don't take the time to actually mark out like good setups and wait for them. They just open their computer or their exchange and start taking positions without doing any work or analysis, which is not the way you should do it. You know, as far as local levels go here, I mean, this horizontal being probably the most important. So an old 786. We have a 382 here, which is where we rejected from already, right? We impulse, we rejected from the 382, flipping this. This is horizontal support, obviously, back testing as resistance. So when you have clear support and you come back below it, you're expecting it to likely act as resistance when you test it. If you claim it, it becomes support again. Until we claim it, that's key resistance. There's some key fib ideas there. And let's pull a volume profile across here. Yeah, there's also a point of control there. So it's pretty obvious why that's resistance. This was a golden pocket rejection. We put in this impulse high, golden pocket, back into the range lows. Wouldn't even be surprised. We're also at the golden pocket now from this pivot high. So you can just keep, you know, in terms of time frames, well, whatever time frame you want to do analysis on, you do it on that time frame. But you should always be aware of your high time frame level because they supersede low time frame, and you make sure that there's not high time frame levels getting in the way of your low time frame ideas. But you know, if I wanted to, let's just say scalp dot, well, I would start doing all my analysis on a lower time frame here. Let's take off this extension. And I'd follow the same general concepts, just on a low time frame. We haven't broken out of this trend line idea here. This is probably how I want to see this. Yeah, this is how I'd pull this channel. I'd use this as my angle, my anchor, and this gives you a high here. You do have a local golden pocket, 382 here, so you know this is going to be the most relevant local resistance. It could offer a scalp short, maybe into the middle of this channel. You always need to use risk management because price can just break out too. The lower the time frame idea, the less important it is. You know, that's why sometimes marking out the more important high time frame levels is best. Okay, just reading through here. You know, I'm getting some, like someone says, please choose 2 coins that will outperform the others. You know, I mean, obviously that's something you'd like to do, but it can be challenging. I just trade support and resistance. I typically am looking for Elliott wave or harmonic ideas that are bullish if I'm longing, bearish if I'm shorting, but you don't know necessarily what's going to outperform everything else. Someone asked if I covered RSR. I do have to go soon, so just catching up on the chat here. All right. Someone's asking for Mina. I've never heard of Mina. He's asked like 10 times in the chat though, so I'm just scrolling through. One thing is, you're saying it's the next Sol. Sometimes coins don't have like any price history. I don't know about Mina. Oh, it's relatively well. You know, like I trade support and resistance. So like for me, is there clear support here? I mean, yeah. You'd be surprised as how often what I want to make clear is, what people want from analysis a lot of the times is just to say like, will price go up, will price go down. What you're really looking for is there support with clear invalidation, and not so much trying to guess if price will go up and down. Just trying to look for clear support to long and clear resistance to short. But the support is clear. And if you're looking for longs, look for longs that support. If price is kind of in no man's land, maybe where we've rallied, wait for a retracement. If you're looking for shorts, look for resistance. Just kind of curious. It'd be nice to have some confluence at this point of control, but there isn't a ton. I mean, probably a 786 here. Close. If we got an impulse, this would be an interesting idea. This golden pocket, descending channel. But, the thing is, you can find so many great setups. Like, you don't necessarily have to trade. If there's not really a very clear setup, just look for other things. You don't have to trade something if there's not a nice idea. But I mean, yeah, as far as support, we're at the lows of a range. So, looking for longs here with invalidation at the range lows, or even these range lows, reasonable? Certainly. But I mean, even for me, if I was wanting to trade this, I'd be looking for longs either even at these local lows, or if we could sweep this low, that'd be a nice idea. Someone's asking if I'm using the horizontal array. Yeah, the horizontal array is great because you can add text to it and it follows your, like if I just write this, it follows with you no matter what time frame you're on. So you can label levels and the text stays with it. I do have to go. I'm sorry, I said at the beginning of the stream that I was running late today, and so I had about an hour. Sorry if I missed your coin. I'll try to do one of these again next week. I do have some older. I have one from a week or so ago, maybe a little longer, and maybe I covered your coin there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're interested in learning more about all this stuff, we have a great community, hundreds of traders, all improving and growing together over at the Lucky Apes trading floor. The link is in the description in my Twitter bio. It's a lot of fun over there. And I mean, people are, I'm just impressed with how far a lot of members have come over the last few months. 6 months, 8 months. It's awesome. So hope you guys have a great day, and hope you haven't been getting chopped up in these ranges too much. I've been fortunate with some of my positions on Bitcoin. I was able to short the highs up here, long this low, and I've been just longing the lows of this range here. So I'm happy to be, I've gotten lots of nice winning trades off the lows here. I did take a long last night that did hold up off this point of control. So yeah, I'm just adding to longs, taking profits, adding on retracements. I do have a bullish thesis on Bitcoin about this this support holding, but we'll see what happens, and potentially getting a move up to the highs of the range again. But we'll see. Lots of levels to break through first.